कल एग्जाम है सर, कैसे पढूं मैं? राइट, ये क्वेश्चन तो आता रहेगा। राइट, बायोलॉजी का तो मैंने ये सब कुछ पढ़ लिया, लेकिन लास्ट मोमेंट में इतना टाइम नहीं है, मैं कैसे पढूं? सो हियर वी हैव अ सॉल्यूशन फॉर यू। वी कैन यूज अ कॉन्सेप्ट मैप। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द कॉन्सेप्ट मैप। और आपके जो भी कॉन्सेप्ट है फटाफट हम लोग रिवीजन कर लेंगे, तो ये बेटरमेंट है राइट आपके लिए। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द कॉन्सेप्ट मैप ऑफ द ह्यूमन रिप्रोडक्शन चैप्टर. So here we're going to start with the concept map of the human reproduction. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the male reproductive system. In male reproductive system, सबसे important point क्या आपका? Testes will be there. Now testes are responsible for what? Secretion of testosterone. This point is very clear. It's made up of the seminiferous tubule. In case of testes, these are made up of the seminiferous tubules. That is very important. And the seminiferous tubules is consist of the spermatogonia that will be converted into the spermatids. Yes or no? Yes. Then Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells are also called a nourishment cell. Nourishment cell. And these cells are responsible for giving nourishment to whom? Spermatogonia. Obviously, that spermatids, see, spermocytes is there, then spermatogonia, and at the end, spermatocytes be going to happen over there. So for meiosis is going to occur there. So whatever the sperm is going to form, the Sertoli cell is going to nourish it. The head of the sperm is inside the cell until this is not get properly mature. So those cells are called Sertoli cells who give the nourishment to the sperm. Then Leydig cell. Leydig cells are responsible for the secretion of androgen. And further, that is impact of androgen is there. Okay, so we're going to study that. So here, right now, what we are talking about, seminiferous tubule consists of spermatogonia, Sertoli cell, and the Leydig cell that we have done up till now. Let's move to the next part. That is, in case of, yes, we are talking about what? A male reproductive system, right? Now, we know that primary is a testis who is responsible for the secretion of testosterone. That is point is clear. Now, we are moving to the next part, that is your accessory ducts. What are the accessory ducts responsible for? Reta testis. Reta testis is responsible for what? Obviously, the testis is there. Once the sperm is going to form, they will be enter. Okay, enter होंगे ना वहां पे. So vasa differentia play the important role here over epidermis. So if the testes are there, this part is called epidermis, where just funnel shaped like things are there. Okay, वो वहां से आ जाते हैं बाहर. You can see the epidermis over here. Okay, then vasa efferentia and the coil structure, that is vasa differentia. Vasa differentia is also called a area of maturation for the sperm. Okay, that is we just understood. Now, in accessory duct, we talk about reta, testis, vasa differentia, epidermis, and the vasa differentia. Now, accessory glands are also there. Seminical vesicle. Along with the sperm, something has to be like prostaglandins there, Ig is there, and obviously for energy purpose, fructose is there. So who is going to secrete that? So seminal vesicles are there. Those who are going to secrete the semen. Okay, now prostate glands are there for secretion of the PGs, and the bulbourethral gland are responsible for the washing out. See, the penis or the urethra of the male are responsible for both the passage for the sperm as well as the urine. So if there is a urine की वजह से क्या होता है? Sperm मर सकते हैं, right? So to wash off those things, bulbourethral glands are responsible for wash away the things. Okay, so they are the secretion of the bulbourethral glands is responsible for washing of the urethra. So urine remnant should be not there and sperm can be easily ejaculated from there. This point is clear. Very good. And external genitalia, we always know about it, right? The glands are there, like see, glands, penis is there, then foreskin is there. This is erectile spongy cells are there, so they can erect with the help of blood. Increasing blood pressure will be there. This point is very clear. Okay, let's move to the next part, which is very important. And I'm moving to the next part. That is, now we're going to talk about the female reproductive system. In female reproductive system, what is there? Ovaries are there. Ovaries, inside the ovaries, there is ovarian stroma is there, a cortex and the medulla. Cortex is the outer part, cortex is the outer part, and medulla is the inner part. Inside the medulla, there are the, see, one ova, one egg is giving rise. I'm like, is going to come out in within the 28 days. That is menstrual cycle. Antrum will primary, secondary, tertiary, then the graphene follicle is there, then the antrum is there, then the with the help of which hormones? If the FSH and LH, follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone, if they are in a peak level on the graph, definitely under that secretion, the ova, the egg will be coming out. This point is clear. Now, accessory duct. The moment I talk about the accessory duct is the oviduct. Oviduct is also called as a fallopian tube. Oviduct is also called as a fallopian tube. Yes or no? So what is a fallopian tube when you talk about? Oviduct is also called as a fallopian tube. And this is also called as the area of fertilization. Fertilization. If very specific, if I talk about the fibrin-like structure and ovaries here, isthmus, or we can say this part is called actually the area of fertilization. Okay, fallopian tube is the whole area of fertilization, but the this isthmus or this just starting of the tube is undergo ova just come out and it fuses over there. Okay, so this is called area of fertilization. Then uterus, mother womb, right? In oviduct there are three parts. Let me complete that: infundibule, ampulla, and isthmus. Hmm? So infundibulum is there, ampulla is this structure. Okay, isthmus is this starting, and this one is your infundibulum is there. It's connect to mother womb. Okay, so infundibulum is there. So these are the parts of the oviduct, that is fallopian tube, and the area where actually the fertilization takes place is this part. Okay, so now let's talk about the uterus. Uterus is called a mother womb, right? Fetus is going to implant over there, okay, in the influence of progesterone hormone. Now tell me one thing, when you talk about the, if the body is ready, that fusion is just take place, definitely they give the signal to the uterus that before the, see what is menstrual cycle, the shedding of the uterus lining along with the unfertilized egg. This point is clear. So when the ova come, already the uterus started preparing in a hope that it gets fertilized. But what happens if not fertilized? Definitely menstrual cycle will be started. This point is clear. So uterus is actually, which part of the uterus actually is endometrium? Exactly. The endometrium is a part who undergo the thickness for the in hope that egg is fertilized and the zygote is going to implant over there. Okay, is this point clear? Now the vagina will be there. Vagina is nothing but what going to happen? It's a useful organ in case of coitus. What is coitus? A sexual intercourse. Penis has to be inserted into the vagina. Okay, and that is part for a, that is for a coitus purpose, and then ejaculated it goes away. Now, the external genitalia, when you talk about, is pons pubis, labia majora, labia minora. The layers are there. Then hymen is there. Hymen is for what? Heavy menstrual cycle, to prevent a heavy menstrual cycle. The whatever the content is going to out, right? It's for prevention of that. But because of the heavy menstruation, maybe hymen present or sometimes absent is there. And clitoris is a penis-like structure found in a female. Okay, it's not used over there, but definitely clitoris structure found over there. Now, mammary glands. Mammary glands are used for what? After maybe for the breastfeeding, right? Mammary lobes are there, mammary ducts, and the lactiferous ducts are there. They are under the influence of the lac lactine. No, no, no. They are under the influence of prolactin. They are under the influence of prolactin. Okay, and if the baby is sucking the nipples, definitely the oxytocin come into the picture, and the milk get out of that. So this point is very much clear to you. Okay, let's move to the next part. I'm trying my best to give you all the concept. Now we are going to study about the gametogenesis. The moment I talk gametogenesis, the point is very clear to you. The moment I talk gametogenesis, let me show you that image very clearly to you. So what is gametogenesis? Synthesis or preparation of the male gamete, that is sperm, and in case of female, ova should be there. So spermatogenesis obviously occur in a male. So first is at puberty level, one cell is there that is called spermatogonia. We have studied that in seminiferous tubule. What is that? Spermatogonia is there. Spermatogonia undergo the first mitosis, not a meiosis. Please pay attention, my dear students. Undergo the mitosis because we want identical here. We want identical copy. We are not undergo now meiosis. So first division is also always a mitosis. Mitosis. Please pay attention. Then we get a two identical bodies. Now these are called, once they undergo the mitosis, they get two bodies. Okay, from the two bodies they get a four bodies. That is called a primary spermatocytes. So spermatogonia, after mitosis, what are the form? They are called primary spermatocytes. Now here is the come to the picture. They undergo the first mitotic division. First mitotic division takes place over here and they form the secondary spermatocytes. From the secondary spermatocyte, they undergo again the mitotic division because we want to break we want haploid. We don't want a diploid here. See, we want a sex chromosome should be in picture. So we can't give XX chromosome. We can give either X, either Y, either these things, right? So they undergo the second mitotic division. That is called, now there are spermatids are formed. This spermatids actually up till now inside the head of the spermatid is still inside the Sertoli cell for the nourishment purpose still. And then the differentiation is going to happen. They get a tail. They get a tail. Once they get a tail, they call a spermatozoa. So what are they actually now? Spermatozoa. Now that is the journey from spermatogonia to spermatozoa. Have you understood that? First mitotic division, then two meiotic division. Whatever the form is called spermatids, undergo the differentiation, get a tail, and that is called spermatozoa. So this point is very clear to you. Very good. Similarly, we have another thing that is called in case of in case of female, that is oogenesis. What is oogenesis according to you? Synthesis of the egg. Oogenesis is nothing but a synthesis of egg. That is sperm. So oogonia, first is oogonia, and again undergo the mitotic differentiation. Always remember, first cell division will be mitotic. So they get a primary oocyte. Primary oocyte. Okay, after the mitosis, the first division, they form the primary oocyte. They're going to form a primary oocyte. Now, here in the computer picture, they're going to form a first mitotic division. See what we want? We don't want a haploid. We don't want a diploid. We want a haploid. So we have to reduce the chromosomal number. For that purpose, we need a meiosis. This point is very clear to you? Exactly. So first meiotic division, they completed prior and the ovulation is started. So secondary oocyte we are getting, and see, here are the polar bodies are forming. Definitely they undergo meiosis for twice. Polar bodies are forming. That is not required. That has to be. In case of sperm, we want haploid, like 4-1. But in case of ova, we just want one. We don't want two ova at the time. What is the reason for that? At in a menstrual cycle, only one. एक ही आएगा ना वो बाहर, right? So हमें एक ही चाहिए. So that is polar bodies are forming during this meiotic division. Not in mitotic, polar body is going to form. Only in meiosis is going to form. Those is degenerated further, and we want one ova. So this point is very clear to you. Yes, that's great. Now we have covered here the oogenesis and spermatogenesis. Now, as we are going to discuss a concept map, let's talk about the menstrual cycle. First of all, what is menstrual cycle according to you? Menstrual cycle is nothing but removal of unfertilized egg along with the endometrium line. Uterus endometrium lining should be there because it's unfertilized. There is no fusion. There is no fusion of male gamete and female gamete. Obviously, there is no use of that egg right now. So egg become now inactive, or the process is called inactive, and the hormone progesterone is secreted. The progesterone is responsible for what? Shading of the endometrium. That gives the signal. Now there is no fertilization takes place. Now please remove this unfertilized egg along with the endometrium line. Why endometrium was there? Because उसको क्या लगा था कि fertilization हो जाएगा तो implantation हो जाएगा, तो Cushing effect देने के लिए और फिर उसको we have to give the nourishment. Endometrium was ready, but in a hope was that fertilization can be takes place. But now there is no fertilization, so that has to be removed. That's a menstrual cycle. 28 days menstrual cycle is there. Now, see what is happening in the first case. I'm talking about this primary, secondary, and tertiary. These are what? Developing follicle. See, from the pituitary gland, see, from the we can say here under the adrenal glands is there, right? Now we know that there is a pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland is called the master gland, is going to secrete the FSH. What is FSH? Follicle stimulating hormone. And this follicle stimulating hormone is responsible for what? Follicle stimulating hormone is responsible for follicle to be Yes, enhancement of the follicle. So undergo the primary, secondary, and tertiary. Once they form, can you see that the FSH was there? Now, along with FSH, LH, that is luteinizing hormone, also come into the picture. And from the molecule C, can you see that this is called a graphene follicle? This is called a graphene follicle. This is a graphene follicle, and this graphene follicle is responsible here. Okay, once the shoot up, what shoot up here? Just pay attention. What is getting shoot up? So, can you see something here? Let me show you with this. At the 14 day, mostly on a 14 day, the LH and the FSH are on a peak level. So once they are in a peak level, ovulation is done. And in ovulation, you can see that estrogen hormones is also increased. Progesterone was reduced over here. But so can I say with LH, FSH, and the progesterone hormones? No, 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 not progesterone. I'm so sorry. It's a estrogen hormones are secreted. And the estrogen, when it's secreting, it's actually giving the endometrium that signal. Now, baby is about to come, not baby actually, the implantation. So ready for the implantation. Okay. So this endometrium undergo the changes, and the we can say the endometrium now becoming thick, thick, thick. Okay, here at a 14 day. Now, what happens if there is no fertilization? Definitely, there is no use of ova. So they undergo the degeneration in a presence of progesterone. Which hormone is responsible for the degeneration? Progesterone, because there is unfertilized egg. So that has to be luteinizing hormone. The luteinizing hormone is now decreased. And which hormone is now increased? Progesterone was increased. So there is a combination of estrogen and progesterone to handle the endometrium. Are you getting my point? Exactly. The moment there is an unfertilized egg, okay, the endometrium lining now undergo the shedding. So now there is a progesterone is responsible to giving the signal. There is no fertilization took place. Now you required to be shed off. So this was a menstrual cycle. This point is very clear to you. Yes, that's great. Now fertilization. Fertilization is nothing but what? A combination of male gamete and the female gamete should be there. That is the fertilization, the fusion between the sperm and the ova. See, we learn about the menstruation. If what happened, the fertilization takes place. Definitely this will not come into picture. Zygote will be forming. Exactly correct. So the sperm has the above layer that is called acrosome. Okay. The sperm is a cell body. There is a middle piece that is made up of mitochondria and obviously the tail. Now, what is happening? The ova. Can you see the ova? Ova is made up of the three things. Like first, this layer. Let me change the color. Then is a that is called proliferative space. Then zona pedicella and the zona radiata. So zona pedicella is the first layer. Then zona radiata is the second, and then there is a ova inside. What is happening actually? Sperm is want to enter inside. Sperm has to be enter inside. What is happening? Sperm is going to secrete the lysine enzyme. Okay, once it secretes the lysine enzyme, the zona radiata. Okay, that is the second one. Which one is there? Zona pellucida is getting dissolved, and the sperm is going to get entry inside. Okay, this point is clear. Now, what happened? He has to transfer the zona radiata, so it goes further. But the moment this sperm enters into the ova, definitely ova don't want other sperms to enter exactly at the same time. So they release another enzyme in response to that, and only one sperm can be entered inside. This point is clear. Okay. Now let's talk about the blastocyte implantation. Now we have just covered the fusion has done. Okay, fusion has been done definitely. The zygote is a unicellular cell, right? Now it undergoes series of the changes of the cell division, and the mass of the cell is formed, and that is called blastocyst. Okay, blastomeres, blasto. So at the end, we're going to talk about the blastocyst, and this blastocyst is actually now moving from fallopian to the descent downward side, and it's get embedded in the uterus. Very good. Okay, now it's a signal. Pregnancy has been done. And when there is the implantation, obviously pregnancy and placenta formation will be takes place. So which hormone is there inside the woman right now? SCG. And you know what? Pregnancy kit test, they actually test this SCG and HPL. On this two things, they are depend. Now, when the pregnancy and placenta formation is there is estrogen and progesterone was in a maintain and balance, okay, to make sure the pregnancy should be there. Now tell me one thing, obviously pregnancy is there now, So in the body, ovulation, menstrual cycle will be not there, ovulation should be not there, right? So that has to be taken by with the balance of estrogen and progesterone. This point is very clear to you. Yes. Now let's talk about the once the fusion baby is now growing in the body. Obviously, after growing baby, definitely when he come to the world, he need a obviously what? Milk. So lactation will also take place. Production of milk towards the end of pregnancy, not in starting, end of the pregnancy is going to happen. Okay, which hormone is responsible for that? Can anybody tell me which hormone will be responsible for that? Prolactin along with oxytocin. Very good. And obviously now parturition is there. Process of giving birth to the young ones after gestation period. What is the gestation period? Mhm. The growth of the fetus towards the baby inside the not baby actually. It's not a right word to talk about baby. The growth of the fetus, like 1 week, 2 week, 3 week till 9 months. That period is called a gestation period. Okay, each and every weeks, or we can say every day. Fetus is undergo the different series of changes. Okay, so we have covered the concept map over here. I hope you understood that. So we actually cover here the concept map of the human reproduction system. So I give you the 2, 3, 3, 4 points regarding the things. Okay, we already covered this in a whole session. You must watch that. Definitely you can watch it, and definitely this will be helpful, the concept map. After watching that video, I'm going to provide the link definitely, and after watching this you can go through this whenever the short concepts are asked for that. So I hope this video is useful to you. Stay tuned with my channel. Bye bye, take care.